Hello and a very warm welcome to this special. We are looking back on a comfortable series win for India in the West Indies, but it just sets up an intriguing home season where the team will be quite busy. I've got Anil Kumble, former India captain and coach, joining me for some thoughts on the series that has just taken place and what we can look forward to. Thank you so much for your time, Anil. First of all, this 2-0 win, in a sense, highlighting the gulf between the two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. I think India has been a top team for a while now, and then West Indies have had its issues. We have seen over the years that it's not the same dominating West Indies that we have so used to seeing growing up. Unfortunately, the last decade or more, West Indies cricket has gone down. There was a little bit of hope when they beat England in their conditions, and also when they won that wonderful test match in Headingley. But unfortunately, West Indies haven't been able to put a team together to beat and repeatedly come up with performances consistently. So that's been the bane for West Indies. But I think India was certainly dominating throughout the series, even if you take the T20, ODI, and then of course the test series.
Before I talk specifics with you, Anil, these were the first two test matches India played under this World Test Championship. It's underway in other competitions as well. The Ashes test matches, as well as Sri Lanka, New Zealand was part of the World Test Championship. Your thoughts on the idea itself before we discuss it a little further?
Yeah, I think, being a part of the cricket committee, I've been discussing the World Test Championship for a long time, and I'm really glad that we have finally got it underway. I know there are some complexities, but I think this is the best possible competition that you can come up with for Test cricket. We all felt, and I think it's pretty obvious that wanted to bring back some kind of a context into Test cricket. People look at context to the number of people watching Test cricket, but I think those two are separate discussions or debate altogether. So we wanted to bring in a lot more context to the game. And I'm glad that under the circumstances, this is the best possible point system that you can come up with.
Actually, just throw some more light on this point system. I mean, for the fan on the outside is going to wonder, here we are, India playing two test matches and winning these two test matches, going to 120 points. Whereas you play an Ashes series and your team could win as many as 4 test matches and not get to 120 points. It's 24 points to per win in that. What's the thought process behind this design? Does it place teams who are playing shorter test series at an advantage?
Yeah, I think, Gaurav, when you look at the overall scheme of things and the way cricket is structured in the world, it has its own complexities where bilateral series, some series have 5 test matches, some series have 3, some have 2, and some have only 1, and some have 4. So I don't think you can change that. In an ideal scenario, you would want a competition like an IPL where you have 7 home, 7 away, like that. If you can come up with an overall 9-team competition, which is what it is in the current World Test Championship, then I think it's an ideal world for everyone to understand. But unfortunately, you need to work around with what is available today and what is the actual reality on the ground. And that is, series have been already structured and then understood that they would be playing over the next few years. So you have to manage some sort of a competition which can bring in some semblance as you let the competition go through its entire course. So I think it's a bit too early. When you look at the points table, yes, England gets 24 for winning an Ashes test match, but India gets 60 for beating West Indies. In that same vein, I mean, if India had lost a test match against West Indies, India would have lost 60. So yes, there are pros and cons.
Right, let's see how that pans out. But let me start asking you about some of the individuals. I've got to start by asking you about Jasprit Bumrah, who came into the scheme of things around the time when you were India coach. Now just seeing his development as a test match bowler, and especially these two test matches, what's struck you the most in terms of his skill sets and how they've improved?
No, I think he's an amazing cricketer. You know, for a young boy who walked into Mumbai Indians in an IPL when I was a part of Mumbai Indians to now he's just grown in stature, he's just grown in his skill sets. Like you said, he's much stronger, fitter, and he's added a bit of pace. He's a lot more consistent. He knows exactly how to get wickets. It's not just about the skills that you have or you possess in terms of ability to bowl in, away, bouncer, whatever. But I think the ability to understand what to do when. I think Bumrah has done that brilliantly, and he's a great student of the game. He understands nuances. He bowls differently to different batsmen. Conditions, he assesses conditions really quickly, and that's something that has been the ability of Jasprit Bumrah. But in this series, what really was intriguing and what was really nice to see was his ability to swing the ball away from the right-hander or to the left-hander coming back in. I think that to me is lethal, because if Jasprit Bumrah can do that consistently, the one coming back in is his natural angle to the right-hand batsman. If he can take the ball away, which he did in the series, we know what he could do. I mean, he could just blast out the opposition in less than 5 or 6 overs, and that's the ability that Jasprit Bumrah has, and I think India is blessed to have someone like him. I mean, 12 test matches, he's already picked up more than 60 wickets, so that's 5 a test match as a fast bowler is brilliant, and I think India is blessed to have someone like Jasprit Bumrah.
You played against and played with a lot of great fast bowlers in your time, and I know you mentioned it's only 12 test matches. He's only been playing test cricket for a year and a bit, so perhaps we tend to get swayed a little bit by the now and here. But what's your view? Do you see shades of the great fast bowlers in him? The way that he bowls the Yorker, do you see a shade of for instance, of a Waqar or a Wasim, or the ability to beat batsmen? Do you see a little bit of McGrath? Do you see great bowlers and shades of them in Jasprit Bumrah?
Oh, certainly. I think he has all the credentials to become a great bowler. I mean, he already is the #1 bowler in all 3 formats. I mean, if you look at the consistency that he has shown in all the 3 formats, India depend a lot on Jasprit Bumrah. To have that ability to do that consistently and carry that burden, you know, he just needs to remain fit and then continue to work on that. And he's, like I said, he's a wonderful student of the game. He understands situations better than any other bowler, and you can see that in his development. So yes, he certainly has the quality to go on and become the greatest ever bowler from India as a fast bowler. I think that's something that he has, and we can see that those kind of shades early in his career. So it's still a long way for him, and you know, it's wonderful to see the kind of performances that he's been able to put together. What really differentiates between a Jasprit Bumrah and someone starting that young is his ability to convert those 2 wickets, 3 wicket hauls to a 5 wicket haul and then win matches for the country. I think that is the hallmark of a bowler. You want bowlers to be match winners, and that's what Jasprit Bumrah does, and he's shown that in such a young career over the last few years.
You touched on it, Anil, but I'd like you to expand on it. Now, this Ashwin situation is quite intriguing for those sitting on the outside. In fact, even the messaging from the management seems to be that he's fallen in the pecking order when it comes to India picking only the one spinner overseas. What's your view, Anil? Do you believe that that decision-making is fine given the performances that Ashwin's had over the last year and a half, or do you believe India needs to find a way to get him back to back into the 11, especially in these overseas test matches?
No, he's still your best spinner that you have. Yes, there have been a few instances where he's had injuries and not performed to his potential. But Ashwin is your #1 spinner in the team, and he should be a part of the squad. He should be playing in the 11. You have to make a way of getting him in. And I strongly believe that this team certainly can have two spinners in the squad, because both Ashwin and Jadeja are wonderful batsmen. Ashwin has had what, four Test hundreds.
Yeah.
Jadeja has been really consistent with the bat. He did that again in the West Indies. He's a wonderful bowler too, and both of them in tandem can certainly be a handful for the opposition. So yes, when India travel outside, it's not always that you get 4 bowlers to pick up 20 wickets. Ideally, if you have the combination of 3 fast bowlers and 2 spinners, wherein your 2 spinners can also contribute with the bat, that's the perfect scenario. And you have 2 spinners, frontline spinners, who are equally good as batsmen. So I think it's a matter of time. I strongly believe that Ashwin will certainly make it into the playing 11. So the management needs to look at that, and then I'm a bit surprised that someone like the ability and the quality of Ashwin is sitting out in a Test match.
That brings me to the other issue, which is the rise of Ravindra Jadeja, in a sense almost leapfrogging Ashwin to become the first choice overseas spin bowler. Do you believe it's because of his ability, because of the overall package that he offers, that he is making that claim and actually succeeding in it? The fact that he can bat in the lower order, the energy he offers in the field, etc.?
Yes, of course. I mean, he's a complete package. He has the ability to bowl long spells, control the bowling from one end. He's a brilliant fielder, the #1 fielder in the world today. He's shown over the last one and a half years consistency with his batting. We always knew the potential of Ravindra Jadeja as a batsman, but it was quite sporadic in the way he showed his batting performances. Yes, that's the reason Jadeja is playing in the 11, but I strongly believe that both these spinners can be accommodated in the playing 11, yes.
Not too many problem areas, Anil, in that series in the West Indies, but one I think everyone is now wondering what that outcome will be, which is KL Rahul. 4 innings, a couple of starts, but really had not a very good series, and now there are other contenders for that role as opening batsman. Do you believe enough has happened for Rahul to lose his spot as India opener now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky situation that KL is in. He's done well. He's got, like you said, he's got starts but not converted them. He's got out. He struggled. He looked like, I think in the last innings, he looked like he was struggling to get bat on ball. He was not his usual self. I think he seems to be in a bit of a mindset where he's not really sure whether to attack, whether to defend. He's unsure. You can see it in his footwork. So I think that's the problem. I think it's all in the mind. Yes, there could be some technical issues, but then if the mind is not clear, if the thought process is not clear, then that doesn't help. Then your technical issues get exaggerated. So I think it's important that he has a clear mind, goes out. I don't know the messaging that has come through. I think the support has been there for KL Rahul. So I think he needs to start scoring runs in domestic cricket. Once he gets a couple of hundreds in domestic cricket and then gets into a Test match scenario, he'll be a lot more confident. I think it's a confidence issue that is there with KL Rahul. Yes, that's a position that probably there will be a lot of discussion before the next Test match that India plays in. But having said that, if you have won a Test series and then you want to go in, unless there is a replacement, Prithvi Shaw is injured, so he's coming back from that injury as well. So unless there's a ready replacement, I'm not really sure whether India will be looking at somebody else.
Yes, there are a couple of guys on the domestic circuit who are making a case, but there's been a left field suggestion doing the rounds, Anil, and I wondered what your thoughts on that was. In a way similar to how Virender Sehwag was asked to open the batting for India, and that worked so wonderfully well. There are some now who are starting to say that perhaps look at Rohit Sharma for that role. He does it very well in one-day cricket. He can't seem to break into that Indian middle order. So maybe look at him in that role.
You only know when you actually do that. But I'm not really sure about pushing Rohit at the top, unless it's a desperate situation. Yes, are we in a desperate situation where we are looking for an opener? If there's someone who's done well at the domestic level. Is it worth considering that? Or should Rohit, yes, he's a high quality player sitting on the bench. Should he be pushed at the top? I mean, those things you need to start looking. Yes, he certainly has the experience. He certainly has the ability to bat anywhere in the batting lineup. Opening the batting in test matches, I think it's a bit different to opening in one-day cricket. But having said that, you'll only know when you push him.